And we're live with KrakenQuest, Zeitgeist, the Gears of Revolution. I am, of course, your Dungeon Master Redbeard, and I went to the outside world for a resupply. Cheers. With me, as always,
Bold.
is Sam playing Jack.
Humorous derailing one-liner.
Man, I'm so derailed. James playing... Oh,
It worked.
damn it, I was derailed. Catherine playing Mina.
Margaritas. That's it.
Enough said,
It is Margarita Day.
apparently.
American Margarita Day.
Yeah.
James playing Ilferi.
I'd be drinking an El Diablo instead. It's very strong, actually.
So what is an El
Good.
Diablo?
Excellent.
It's tequila, creme de cassis, lime, and ginger beer.
Oh, nice. So it's like
That's
a
pretty good.
it's like a Mexican mule.
Yeah.
Yeah, kinda.
Good.
And Carter playing Zeodor.
What you don't know won't hurt you. And what you don't know is that under this desk, I'm not wearing pants.
Well,
That hurts me.
Now I
But
know
now I'm
that.
hurt because I know.
Yeah.
That was an all that reference.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it sounded
Yeah, it
vaguely
was.
familiar.
Yeah.
yeah.
Alright.
So last time on Zeitgeist, the Gears of Revolution, our constables of the Risuri Homeland Constabulary,
It's Royal Homeland.
Royal
Constabulary.
Homeland Constabulary. I always get that. I think I always said Risuri in the last time I ran this because I don't give a fuck.
And
It's
because
such a
none of your
rebel,
players
Chris.
that time read the book.
No, you guys have been much better about reading the player's guide than my previous party.
It's kind of an advantage of playing digitally, to be honest, because I just have my computer in front of me, so I have it up at all times.
Yeah, fair enough.
I try to remember. I want to print it out, honestly,
Don't look at
but
anything. I just kind of make things up as I go.
Yeah, I printed mine out when I still worked in an office. But I also have been printing out the modules on my home printer, and Amanda was like, "Did you print that out with my ink yesterday?" And I was like, "No, with my ink."
Okay, I'm not going to
It's
derail us.
our ink, honey.
but there's chili.
So last time, I feel like I said that already. Our heroes had reached a conclusion. They found a culprit, and I mean, he was
made of goop.
Oh yeah, that guy was made of
That
goop.
also
Yeah.
culprit.
got
He
at
was
least
the villain
two.
from the Power Rangers movie.
He
Yeah, at
wasn't
least two
alive in
villains.
news. Yeah, you're right.
But
We know there are more, but we got two of them.
unfortunately, he mysteriously killed himself before his trial could be taken underway. And thus the loose ends were, in a way, some of the loose ends were tied up abruptly with that, and others were left dangling with no one to really grab a hold.
In before Reed McBannon didn't kill himself memes.
Too late. It's already in graffiti.
So it's been a couple weeks since that event. The lady inspectress, Margaret, is it Margaret Saxby? I don't
Yes.
wanna
Yeah.
say the wrong name. Who is the leader of the RHC in Flint? Seems to think that the fame of your party could go to your heads, and thus has assigned you all to more trivial work around town, which most days comes down to you all sitting at your desk somewhere between twiddling your thumbs and filling out the same form for the 500th time about how a minor reports of larceny or robbery, muggings, very, very minor things that probably should be handled by the police, keep coming across your desks, which leaves you with a lot of free time to pursue your own interests.
Three of the professors got arrested for sedition. Turns out they were just drunk and talking shit.
Yeah,
From such things are sedition born.
that's
I
probably
mean, that is
accurate.
clearly how America happened.
Well, okay, that's true, but America happened in the stupidest fuck off way.
And that is why we're the greatest country on earth.
Fuck your team.
And so it continues.
So tonight's gonna be a little more freeform. I'm gonna kind of hand the reins over to the players to act out some of the scenes that they want to do in this downtime before the next adventure starts up. If we get through everything, then we'll do some of the introduction of the next adventure. But we'll just
The inmates
see
are
how
running
things
the
go.
asylum now.
Jack
Can
rides
I?
in on a Tarask.
The Tarask loves him.
Can I take a first point of order? It's not a. It's kind of a downtime thing, but it's not something that needs to be role played out.
Oh, I thought you were going to be like, it's the Tarask, not a Tarask.
On the Tarask.
This is something I want approval from the entire party because this is something that takes favors, but I would like to request a favor once every 10 days to have Gentle Repose cast on Heward Sechem until the favor, which takes about a month to get him raised from the dead, can be performed. I'll pay for it, but it takes some favors.
I
Jack
think that
does not care.
I think that during this downtime, Zeodor is actually somewhat, especially during the beginning of this downtime, Zeodor is going to be very focused on his project. So the way I imagine this, Ilferi asks Zeodor about it, and Zeodor agrees without completely listening, and like it sounds good. And he heard you mention something about Heward, so he assumes it's good and agrees. And then by the time, like halfway through the downtime, that he's back to like fully socializing and paying attention again, it's like, well, I already agreed to this, and also sounds like a good idea to me.
Perfect. Now he will be my zombie slave.
That worked out so well last game.
Yeah.
I cast Ungentle Repose.
Rough repose.
Oh no, they like it like that.
Ooh. Yeah, so the favor, the Gentle Repose I can get done every week without, like, any checks.
Mhm.
And the Raised Dead I can get done in a month without any checks. So I'll spend the 500 gold. There's a lot of guilt going on with Ilferi. Like, despite feeling like he did the right thing, he still feels like he's partially to blame. And also, Heward just didn't do anything wrong. He was nothing but helpful and got kidnapped.
Mina
So-
will throw in 200.
Okay. And I'm kind of actually. It takes. How long did we say it takes to craft? It was 25 gold a day to craft an item.
Craft a magic item, yeah.
And then 500 divided by 25 would be 20 days.
Yes.
So, would the RHC accept a magical item in exchange for payment?
Not really, no.
Okay. Well, I'm still
Like it's-
making that item.
Yeah, it's kind of like two different departments that you're working with.
Mhm.
Like,
They don't communicate.
yeah. It's like R&D is the people you'd be talking about with creating a new magic item, and
Mhm.
like the quartermaster and like some like that kind of departments, and then getting the paperwork together to get a resurrection spell requested is like a mountain of paperwork that has to go out to external entities and like call in favors with probably with the clergy or someone in that kind of scope.
Mhm.
So that, and that's the main reason that it takes a full month. Not that it's like, okay, thanks for your request. We'll be there in a month. It's like you're literally like checking in, like, hey, did you submit that thing yet? And like following up with people and like trying to work out like how to influence the proper channels to get this done over the course of a month.
Okay. So hopefully, this doesn't fail for whatever reason. I've put in 300 gold, and Mina's put in 200 gold for the 500 gold diamond. And yeah, hopefully it works.
Okay. Is there?
So that was something I wanted to take care of before everything else, just because that needed to be happen. That needed to have been started like immediately.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that'll be something that kicks off. I guess if we're at somewhere within the first 2 weeks of spring or summer, when that kicks off. So if there are any other scenes that would be happening more early on in the season.
Yeah, I guess at some point. Well, Zeodor's sequestered. So yeah, since Zeodor's sequestered, Jack is going to be spending time in kind of the. I'm guessing there's kind of like not workout rooms, but like training areas within the constabulary's facility.
Mm-hmm.
To be
Jack's
clear,
gonna
in
put a
case
lot
it
of-
matters, in case it matters, Zeodor's not really sequestered. He's just kind of like not paying attention to a lot of things.
Right, so Jack's not going to bug him.
In Jack's mind, that's sequestered.
He is essentially useless to me at the. Anyway, yeah, Jack's gonna put in a lot of time in the. My brain said practice cages because I listened to a lot of Horus Heresy. He's gonna spend a lot of time working with his machete on both his form and kind of like designing and redesigning what it would take to make a better machete.
It's like a batting cage, but for a machete.
Is there a story behind your machete
Fruit
that you want to
ninja.
share?
So Jack fought in the Aerosol Forest, which is a jungle environment. So it's pretty likely to assume that he either picked up this machete or just using a machete when he was a soldier there, trekking and stuff like that. He doesn't hugely talk about it.
Okay.
It's kind of it's become a bit synonymous with him, just the pistol and the machete.
Yeah.
By the way, you might need to turn your sensitivity up on your mic. You're breaking up like at the ends of your words when
Damn
your
it.
voice goes down.
Just double check. Just double check your settings, like less.
It's definitely better than it has been.
No, I think
No,
other way.
up.
No, you
No,
want to
no,
turn it
down.
You want to
Yeah.
turn that bar to the
Okay.
left.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Wife.
Never said I knew what I was doing.
But yes, no, the machete's name is Craig. He got it on a Tuesday. No. Yeah,
All right, cool.
what I said. Yeah, so
And I
he's
guess
like,
that could also your training could also reveal itself in the fact that you guys are now level 5 and have proficiency bonus bump.
yeah, it plays into that. Do I get that because I'm multi-classing? I thought I had to get 2.
No,
No,
it
that
is
is-
character level.
Character level for proficiency.
Oh, cool.
See, it says 3 now.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, so that plays in. So he's like attaching weights to it, or like just like kind of like just like got like pieces of wood that he's just trying out like different lengths and everything, different grip styles.
Okay.
He's trying out a lot of stuff.
Oh, at some point early in the season, one of the other when Mina, when you come into the office one morning, somebody says you might want to check out one of the holding cells. I think someone left something there for you.
In a holding cell? Okay.
Yeah, he left. We found someone on the front steps this morning, and we thought that you might be interested.
Alright.
Is it that bitch that made fun of me in high school?
It's her head.
I was gonna say that bitch doesn't live here, but yeah, no, that bitch does. I did grow up in this city. Yeah, I head down to the cells.
And there you find, God, totally forgot his name.
While he's looking that up, I should have said one more thing. His machete is standard military issue of the time.
You find a dragonborn whom you recognize went by the name Valando.
Yep. Hey, Alondo.
And sitting outside of the cage there is a bag of coffee.
Is that for Mina or Catherine?
I think it's from Cipiano.
That would make sense, yeah. Okay. What'd you do to piss him off?
Tried to get out of the city, I suppose. Don't know why he picked me up.
'Cause I like his coffee.
He kind of just snorts at you.
I pick up the bag and I leave him there.
That does remind me, we do have a couple of training montages to do. That would probably happen pretty early on. Because Zeodor was going to get trained by the doctor, and Mina was going to get trained by
Jackson.
that guy whose name I totally remember.
Julian Labrie.
Julian.
Julian,
Yeah.
yeah.
So do we want to go ahead and do those?
Sure.
Which one do you guys want to do first?
It's up to you guys.
Yeah, I think it's up to the ones that actually have training to do.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we were also going to do there was also a group training.
There was
session
also the
we were
group
gonna do.
montage.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That one's like off-site though, so it's probably after everyone's done with their like primary stuff.
So yeah, Mina, if you go and seek out Julian Labrie, who, if you recall, was the chief security officer at the Denoran consulate, and had some issues with his what's the word? Orders about covering up the Nilasa murder. But when you guys met with him last time, he gave you a gift of vendetta bullets
Yes.
and said that he could teach you how to make them.
Hey, so I got one of these assholes in holding.
Oh, so does that mean you have the pair now?
Yes? We did get the other one,
Yeah.
didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah!
You guys
Got the
never really
pair.
did anything with him, but
No, but he's there.
We talked to him, and he
still.
was like, "Ugh, I don't want to talk to you." So we left. So we let him rot.
Said, fuck you, stay here.
well,
We
that
probably
is
shipped him off to the raft at some point.
that is good to hear. I feel much safer knowing that those two are off the streets and not causing any more trouble for the factory owners and whatnot. So, you would like to learn how to make bullets like the ones I showed you, yes?
I'll admit, I'm absolutely fascinated.
Well, if you'll join me out back, I have a small forge where I like to do such projects.
Sure.
And he leads you out there, and it's not much. I mean, he lives in the middle of the city and just has like a little corner of a like a back lot that he kind of shares with neighbors. But he has a little what's the name for it? I guess it would be just forge. For crafting ammunition. And I can find that section of the book. Vendetta bullets. So he kind of shows you. I assume that with your interest, you know how to make a simple bullet. Yes.
Yes. I learned that when I was 8.
Well, there's a special bond that two beings share when someone escapes murder or suffers the death of those he cares for. And if you can channel that desire and give it physical form as you forge these bullets, you can use them to seek vengeance upon those enemies.
So it's like literally hatred given form.
Yes, in a way. I don't entirely know the mechanical operations of how it works, aside from if you etch an enemy's name into a bullet as you craft it and focus that ire, then they become much more potent. You can only have one bullet per enemy, and you must know their name, obviously, in order to etch it down. But for me, it's been very effective for seeking those that have done me harm.
When did you learn to do this?
Back home in Dinar. It was not a tale I'm happy telling, but
Just seems like an odd thing to learn to do.
it was almost accidental, you could say. I had a problem that I had to deal with, and it was almost a silly fancy that I tried such a thing, but it works, and it is potent. Perhaps it is something of the Fae, perhaps something of other powers. I cannot say.
Leftover vestiges of the old demonocracy.
Perhaps. I trust you not to abuse this sort of power.
I don't actually like the idea that it exists at all, but just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's not effective. And man,
Yes,
this
it
stray
is.
cat's got stuff to say about it.
Yeah.
Morgana's telling you to go to sleep.
All right, so you now know how to make vendetta bullets.
I can make bullets that hit people I don't like real
Look,
hard.
When mommy hates daddy very, very much.
And she carves his name into a bullet.
So
And that's how a baby is born.
A death baby.
These bullets can only be created if you owe fierce vengeance to an enemy. You can create one per enemy, and only if you know their name. You can never create a second one against the same person. If you pass the bullet to someone else, a given shooter can only benefit from one such bullet per target. They can be created by people with no magical training. Creation only requires intense will for revenge. Any bullet can be made into a vendetta bullet. And then I think I already gave you the stats for how it works,
You did.
right? Okay.
Yes.
So I think it's reasonable to say that you could make one in a, we'll say a long rest.
Alright.
If you've already got a bullet,
Uh-huh.
I feel like it would take longer than a short rest.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
It takes 8 hours of just pure hatred.
That bitch that teased me in high school. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, as I carve her name into a bullet.
Bernadette, 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 Bernadette.
burn her dead?
Hey!
Burn her dead, Bernadette. Yeah.
You actually don't use carving tools. You take a dull stylus and you carve it with the power of your sheer will.
Alright.
All right, what's next?
It's to the doctor.
Yeah,
Alright.
Zeodor's.
Cool.
Don't forget to bring an apple.
But
I don't bring him an apple.
Oh, man. Rude.
If I bring him an apple, he'll stay away.
Mm.
I want him to teach me shit.
oh jeez.
So instead, I bring him a fig, the fruit of knowledge, maybe.
I just looked at this ability for the first time.
Uh-oh. That doesn't sound good. I mean, it sounds good.
Good to me.
I guess what would this be? I guess it would just be a feature on Zeodor's character sheet.
Yeah. The other one, Experimental Strike, is just listed as an action.
Okay. Cool.
It showed, and I took the. I think that this is just a custom action. Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you
Please
can
say that.
add custom actions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember how.
don't know. I know how to do it on the sheet. There's just a manage custom button, but I don't know what it does.
Oh. Okay.
Ooh, lots of options there. I added a custom action. I can't actually do it, but
Ah. Okay.
I just looked at my unarmed strike for the first time. I didn't realize it dealt 1 plus my strength modifier damage. It deals literally 0 damage.
Wait, so you're literally like, ugh.
I think it is minimum 1 though, right? I think all damage is minimum 1.
For everybody except Zeodor, yes.
That's what I thought, but according to D&D Beyond, it says 0. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm maybe the left arm makes me so unbalanced I just can't like hit full force.
Actions.
It's a full body maneuver.
Okay. General. Edit. Okay, here we go. So yeah, the doctor has been Dr. Wolfgang von Recklinghausen, that is.
Yes.
Has been just kind of hanging around the constabulary office for now. He doesn't really know where else to go and what to do, and he's been called in by the other team that's working on the McBannon case a couple of times to kind of give his take on things. He's still been asking for a approval to continue on his way to Bear, which was his original reason for going to the consulate. So it's not too hard to find some time to work with him.
Okay. Ah, doctor. You mentioned a technique you wanted to show me.
Ah, yes. I noticed your very unique fighting style, and it seems like you might be very you might be willing to learn a technique that I've worked on.
I am always interested in expanding my repertoire. If you have knowledge to teach, I have ears to learn.
Um, as you may know, I have grown up in the Malice lands outside of Dinar, and it's a very, very rough way of living out there. And I taught myself the ways of medical science, helping those around me there, and in particular studied as a surgeon for many years. But I also had to learn to defend myself. And that has given me a very unique combination of skills.
Skills I've used over a long career.
A surgeon must know how to be deliberate and precise with their movements. And so must a fighter. I think
But he's a rogue.
that I can teach you how to strike more precisely at a foe's weak points and take down those that oppose you more easily.
Yes, the application of sufficient force to a single point to a single point of weakness is a technique with which I am somewhat familiar. An enhancement or additional usage there could be highly useful. Theodore is like talking fairly calmly, but he like has his sword out.
Mm-hmm.
He's like ready to go.
Somewhere you guys procure like a surgical dummy,
Somewhere.
and
Definitely not a corpse.
definitely not a corpse. He spends a few hours going over with you the vital points of where to strike a foe to deal extra amounts of damage. And
You flip it over and attack its weak point for massive damage.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
And you learn the surgical precision, martial, what do they call it?
Oh yeah, it's
Martial
like
training.
Martial stance. Okay.
Which should now be on your sheet.
Or martial technique.
Yes.
What does it
That's what
do?
it's called in the book, at least. I'll hang on. Let me. Hold on. I have to reload. It's just in my actions. Is it an attack?
It's
No.
on your action. It should be in the same section as experimental strike and sneak attack.
Hold on. Let me reload my character.
Is it
sheet.
just more sneak attack?
It's under other.
I don't know. Okay. I was only guessing attack because experimental strike is under attack. Other. Oh, experimental strike is also under other. Interesting. Surgical precision. Once per encounter, you may gain advantage. Ooh, on all attacks for one turn. What the fuck? During this round, your attacks deal an additional 1d6 points of damage. If you are a rogue, this damage counts as sneak attack damage.
Nice.
So it
It is
one
actually
round,
extra sneak attack.
Yep.
yeah. For one round, I get advantage on all of my attacks and bonus sneak attack damage. Honestly,
Neat.
though, the fact that it counts as sneak attack damage doesn't really do anything, since Theodore's not doing anything fancy with the sneak attack damage, but it's neat. I like it.
I wasn't sure if that means you can't stack it with your sneak attack or not.
Oh. Maybe it does. I was thinking that meant that does stack, because there are things that care about how much. Oh, you know what? I don't know if there are in 5th edition.
Yeah.
I don't know either.
In 3.5, there were things that cared about how many dice of sneak attack you did, and things that let you like give up dice of sneak attack. I don't know if that's still true in 5th edition.
Oh, it might just be that you can only apply that damage once a round. Or, sorry, once a turn, not once a round. The same as sneak attack.
Well, that's weird. Why would that says this is worse for rogues? Because it says during this round, your attacks deal an additional 1d6 points of damage.
Oh, interesting.
And then it says
But you get
if you are a
advantage.
rogue, this counts as.
So you add a d6 to your sneak attack damage.
Yeah, I would just say it's add a d6 to your sneak attack damage. I don't see an issue.
Yeah, that seems fine.
I'm just. Yeah. Well. Yeah, it's just the if I can only do it once per round is saying that it is just worse for rogues.
I don't
Because
understand.
otherwise it happens on. Because otherwise I can do it on every attack in a round.
So, like, if he 2-weapon fights, he could offhand d6. But if it
Or
counts
if I
as
get
sneak
extra
attack,
or something.
yeah.
I can only do
But-
it once.
sneak attack is only once a round, so if you offhand, you can't do sneak attack damage. But you would be able to do this. Hopefully.
Yeah, I don't know if I still don't get why it would be worse for rogues in general, but
Because if it is what James was saying, where you can only do it once per round because it counts as my sneak attack damage, and it's just adding 1d6 to my sneak attack and not giving me any
but
other
it's not
benefit.
doing that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we have clarified
That's
that
what
it's
I
just...
thought.
Yeah.
But then everyone else seemed to be saying the other thing.
No, I flipped back to your side after we talked about it for a minute.
So
Okay.
It's an extra d6 for that full round.
yes,
that
that's what
seems-
that's
how I read
exactly
it.
what it says. During this round, your attacks deal additional 1d6 points of damage.
It's
Yeah.
just that weird extra line about it being considered sneak attack could add rules weirdness, but we will just ignore that line.
I don't see why we would, but sure.
It doesn't add anything to the ability, it only takes away if you count it as sneak attack. But we can go over that later.
Yeah. I mean, my
In-
interpretation
unless-
that this was in place of a sneak attack, instead of getting plus 2d6 on an attack, you get plus 1d6 on all attacks and advantage.
Oh,
Oh,
that seems really
replacing
bad.
sneak attack.
Yeah, I would just never use that.
Yeah.
So
So
that gives me advantage on one attack that I can't use sneak attack on? That seems bad.
yeah, so that's why I'm thinking that it probably would just be in addition to your sneak attack.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
glad we
Rules,
cleared that
rules.
up.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh shit, that's also once per encounter?
Yeah. Or I guess
Okay.
you
Once
it-
for short rest.
Yeah, I guess the updated text should be you
Once for short
regain
rest.
the use of this on a short rest. So I'll just go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Stray cats.
Why are there so many stray cats in the constabulary? Damn it!
We assign one to every orphan. It needs a moral support animal to foster them.
Oh, that's actually how the experimental strike works too. I misread the experimental strike.
You get a free
I thought it was
cat.
once per long rest. I could have been using it more. Oh well.
You okay there, babe? What's up?
regain reuse of this. You regain use of this feature on a short rest. Is that the proper wording?
After you use this
fuck.
feature, you cannot use it again until you finish a short or long rest, is the wording the experimental strike has.
Oh, well, let me just copy it from there.
Buddy, why?
Except I'll just make it short rest. Or,
Okay.
I know it would be, but yeah.
No, you can only do it after a short rest. Long rest. No.
Okay, every morning after Theodore meditates for 4 hours, he takes an additional hour for some reason no one's sure of.
All right, there we go. That should be correct now.
Sweet. I'm just going to assume it
Except
works. I'm
I-
not going to reload my page.
Didn't change the word experimental strike to surgical precision. I know we've been talking about this other feature, but just so you know, you gain use of this other one.
Okay. Zeodor does have one scene that happens pretty early on. Does anyone mind if I go ahead and do that, or does someone else have a scene they want to do?
Nah, dude,
Because
take
Zeodor
it.
just did one.
Well, I have one that also happens fairly early on, but you can do yours and I'll do mine after that.
Okay. Well, you're going to be in both of them because this is the one I need a fairy for.
Oh, okay. Yarr. You need me to
So-
charter you a ship? I can't do that.
Sorry, just the image of Theodore, like, or of Ilferi, like, assuming the thing that I need and then immediately telling me he can't is amazing. But no, Theodore has asked you to go with him on a hike up to the falls where we met Gale, because he needs to meet Gale there again.
Ah, I see. Maybe she could teach me a thing or two about that fancy wind magic.
I figured you would want to come along. I'm just assuming that I used the feather to arrange the meeting off camera.
Yeah.
And we do get to keep the feather, right? Because that was a gift.
It blows away in the wind.
Yeah, that's. I think it actually specifically says in the player's guide that gifts don't have to be.
Yeah, that's why I was specifying that it was a gift, because it does say that in the player's guide.
Yeah.
It's just they keep an eye on it because they don't want their officers to be bribed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess other gifts that you've come across are like the canary necklace, but you did willingly give that back. But that's also
Well, we
something
haven't
that
yet.
could
I'm about to.
okay. I can remember. Okay.
Yeah, I plan to do it in this scene. That's why we're going to talk to Gale. Well,
Yeah.
ostensibly, that's why we're going to talk to Gale. Theodore has alternative purposes.
Yeah.
What? A rogue having ulterior motives?
Oh, fuck.
So when we get to the falls, is Gale waiting for us?
Yeah, it's the same picturesque location. I think it was called the Wedding Vale, if I recall correctly. Over beautiful falls, Bridal Vale. That was it.
Oh, pretty close.
Gale
Oh
is.
yeah, it's the picture of if Arizona had water.
Gale is already there waiting when you arrive. She's just kind of like staring out over the falls.
How
Good
be the
afternoon.
beautiful wind lady? I don't know if you're beautiful or not. I have different beauty standards, but, you know, it seems like a polite thing to say.
It was before you explained it.
I think.
Yeah!
So, Theodore takes the canary. Actually, he wouldn't be wearing it because he's giving it back. So he takes it out of his pocket and he hands it to Gale. I believe this was yours.
Oh, I appreciate your returning of this item. It is not dear to me, but at least hard to come by, and very useful for some of my agents.
Well, on the subject of useful and hard to come by, Theodore pulls out of a different pocket one of the vial, a smaller vial of witch oil.
Mm-hmm. Did
I need
you?
your
Sorry,
help.
I can't recall. Did you collect more when you guys are at the reservoir? Or are you still working with like, the little bit that you?
I
Well,
would be
I
surprised
got
if we
kind of
didn't.
half of it off of Axis Island, but I was planning to get more. Yeah, I don't think we explicitly said that I got more, but yeah.
I would have been surprised if you didn't take more from, like, a more recent source.
Yeah, and after it burnt down, we went back, and was it still accessible?
The reservoir
Because
itself.
the building. Yeah, because the building burnt down,
Mhm.
but could we still get to the reservoir?
Yeah, it's pretty early on. It was kind of a there were a lot of other constables going in and out. There been samples taken by like some of the R&D department of RHC. So even if you don't personally go or aren't able to get in there to get it, you'd be able to have someone else get you more if you needed it.
Okay,
up
yeah,
to,
then
up to within reason.
sure. But Zeodor probably has, the like big specimen jugs, big glass specimen jugs.
Yeah.
He probably has one of those
Okay.
in his workshop.
Hmm.
Which, given that there was like an Olympic swimming pool of the stuff, I figure that's a reasonable amount. But anyway, he holds up the vial. Gale presumably grimaces.
Yes.
I need your help.
With
Yes, I understand the dangers of it, and he looks to Ilferi, and I need your help too. Sorry for not revealing this earlier, but I was afraid that if you knew why I really wanted to meet here, you might not come, and I need your help.
I mean, I trust you enough.
It's not
So,
just dangerous, it's abhorrent.
Yes,
too.
but that's the thing. The important thing about it is the soul sealing. Yes.
Yes.
and the fact that it can be used to manufacture horrible monsters of metal.
Yes, sure. Well, everything can be used to manufacture horrible monsters. Fey Magic has plenty of those magic machines, whatever. Or you can get monsters out of anywhere. But I think I can insulate it. I think I can stop at least a small amount. Something like the reservoir, no chance. But there's an old smuggler's trick. And he places the vial down on the ground and he starts pulling materials out of his pocket. It's a way to avoid magical detection. You use some bits of wire, and he pulls out a now repaired Helper's arcane core and an arcane battery. You can make a small bubble, very small but useful for smuggling, and it can mystically insulate a small area. The trick is that the length and material of the wire can change what sort of magic it will actually block. I think that possibly with the right combination, and he starts pulling out wires of various lengths and materials. He's got just bits gathered from all sorts of things. So bits
And
of
here's where I keep my
iron,
various lengths
mithril.
of wire.
yeah, pretty much actually. Like he's got a satchel and he's just like pulling out bits of wire of
She
varying
looks
materials.
very
It does kind of look like a
confused.
crazy person.
And is like,
Il-
where are you going with this kind of look on her face?
Ilferi is also very confused.
The point is, it can make a barrier. And the barrier, if it keeps magic out, can keep magic in. The problem is, I've never had to block planar magic before. I don't know what will work. And I don't have the magical expertise. I don't have that kind of magical expertise. I need... And he motions to the two of you, people skilled in such magics, to help me figure out what will work. If you just can detect the magic around it, I think I can make a barrier, a small bubble of sorts that will just insulate a small amount of the witch oil at the time. This would let me use it.
And why are you not trying this on something safer? Like anything?
Because because why am I not using something safer?
Testing.
Because that test wouldn't tell me anything. I need to test that it will actually insulate the witch oil, and the witch oil has a relatively unique magical signature. I need to make sure that it will actually contain the planar magics.
But you were talking about it containing magic in general. Why not see if it contains magic first?
Oh, well, it does do that. I know that. It's
I'm
an
not-
old
Also-
trick. Like I said, I've used it before, but
I'm not
it's small.
entirely
It's generally temporary.
sure if I follow exactly what you're trying to accomplish. You're trying to use the magical energies of the oil without using that which gives it power?
Right. I think that it won't be as strong, obviously, as giving it limitless power, but the oil itself does have some power. And I think that we can contain it. If we can contain it, I can use it for small things, but any edge we can get in this fight could be helpful.
You say small things. What small things are you talking about? I trust you, but
I don't
we
trust this
already
at
know
all.
this is dangerous.
That oil has absorbed the souls of those who were meant to pass on to the next life. And that is what makes the oil potent and magical in any regard.
Are you saying it's not magical at all if no souls have passed through it?
That's my understanding. So to contain the oil in a way you're suggesting would keep the souls still trapped within the oil. Is that what you're saying?
If I used the oil that had already absorbed the souls, yes. Hopefully, I can find a way to do it with the trying not to say fresh oil.
Inert?
Yeah, uh, the relatively inert oil. That's the goal.
You seem to know a bit about how this oil works. When the magic of the oil is used, are the souls released?
I can't really say what transpires beyond the veil of death.
But why
Perhaps what he's trying to do would help it, or keep it from absorbing souls, but also allow it to expel souls that are within it. If we can't take it in, but we can use the power, perhaps it's a way to cleanse it, in a way?
What
It's at least worth trying.
what
is it
sort
not?
of scale do you think you could build this barrier in?
Like I said, the trick only works at small scales. He's got a vial. It's like basically a test tube. Probably no bigger than this. At least not with the trick I know. Maybe someone else. I don't know for absolute certain, but my guess is only something small. But the point is not that we could stop it entirely. The point is that we could bring some of the power onto our side, and perhaps motion towards Ilferi, perhaps cleanse the already corrupted oil.
Although, if it does need to be cleansed, that would mean that you have to refill it over time, right? Which means
Well,
the now empty oil
It would
is
mean
now
I would
not
run.
in the bubble.
It would mean I would run out, and that's a risk I'm willing to take.
Is there a way to keep inert oil in that bubble and just not useful anymore? Like rechargeable capsules or something? Yeah.
Probably. We might need to separate it into smaller containers, but I could rig something up.
Ilferi doesn't know the term, but he is referring to like a battery.
Gale looks contemplative. My main concern is that this harnessing of witch oil seems to be what our foes in the Bleak Gate are doing. And I don't know enough about how this functions to be absolutely certain that we're not just doing the exact same thing that they are doing. And I don't know enough about how this functions to say whether using this oil in any regard is a release for those souls trapped within.
I understand. It's risky, I admit. But if we are going to fight this foe, and I believe that you believe we must, we are going to need every advantage we can get.
But fighting fire with fire just
These
burns your ship down
people
faster.
are- Fighting fire with fire is pretty effective if you burn their ship first. Look, I know that this is a bizarre proposition, but I just need you to take a look at the oil. Use your ritual to detect the magic, and let me try to use the bubble. If I'm right, if I can insulate it, if I can keep it from being exposed to the outside, then you should see the Bleak Gate energy from it be cut off.
I have a quick. This is an out of character question that I'm assuming Ilferi would know. Do all animals and like bugs and everything do they all have souls? Like, does an ant have a soul?
Well, depending on which version, which
Not-
denomination you are, I mean,
I don't know the answer to that.
I mean,
I'm trying to-
if
I'm
you're
trying
That's
to-
a
saying-
belief that you could have. That-
Yeah, okay. That's a belief that Ilferi would probably hold. Is that all living like animals and
I mean,
creatures and stuff like that.
You could experiment by killing things near innate Bleak Gate oil or
So
witch oil.
That's kind of where I was going with this. Was
Alright, so
Basically,
troubles at dawn.
like as a test, like kill a bug near this oil to make sure that it can't be absorbed into the oil with this bubble thing. You know, I should say all this stuff in character.
Yeah.
I wanted to
killing
get
bugs.
I wanted to get a baseline before I made assumptions when I was talking.
that feels reasonable.
Yeah, that's fair.
We are in a relatively safe area where the witch oil is not at risk of absorbing souls, correct? Or perhaps we go to a place that is more safe?
She kind of glances around at the fairly removed from society place you're in right now. Well, at least any souls of even minor intelligence.
One way we can, and I hate to say this because it feels like a waste of, well, life, but perhaps we can kill insects or small animals to see if it does insulate from absorbing souls. That way we know that we're not taking souls of major consequence, and and if his tool does work the way it intends, then their souls move on as intended.
I don't see how... I could see how such a device could prevent souls from being absorbed into the oil. That is an application that I think could see merit. But I don't see any way that using activated oil could return souls to their final resting place.
It is possible that the souls are destroyed, but we don't have a way to extract them right now, do we?
Not that I know.
So this is... I hate saying it. It's horrible, but the souls that are trapped in the oil are already doomed. If we can make something that insulates it so that more souls can't go in, and we at least get some use out of what's already trapped, it seems like the best case scenario until we can find a better option.
It's
And
worth
again,
looking
if
into.
this, yes, and if it works, hopefully we can find a way to use the inert oil. And if we can't, I run out, and as I said, I am taking the risk. You will help us.
I'll need a day to prepare some different spells, but I'm willing to at least see how it works. And see if it works.
Thank you.
Very well.
Theodore turns to look at Gil.
I don't like this idea of using the oil in any regard. But if we can find a way to protect the souls that protect souls from getting trapped inside, then I'm willing to assist.
I have another method that we might be able to test as well. The Bleak Gate and the Dreaming are fairly similar to each other. Perhaps we test it on Dreaming magic first?
Perhaps, though I don't
I
know
can do
if
that
the-
now,
The
without
dreaming-
any
I don't know if the-
preparation.
The Dreaming and the Bleak Gate are as similar as day and night. I don't see where that analogy comes from.
They're both the only planes parallel to this one.
Perhaps
Think of this as a
physically similar,
midpoint.
But I don't think I properly explained the delicacy of this procedure. Even the difference between a learned caster and the bard would change which would change the lengths and materials I would need. It's a very delicate resonance. I'm attempting to block a specific frequency, if you will. It really must
wondering-
be tested on the Bleak Gate energy.
Since I've had exposure to both the Bleak Gate and the Dreaming,
When have you been to the Dreaming?
that's how I have my powers. Like, my powers come from the Fey Courts. That's my subclass.
But have you been to the Dreaming?
At a very young age. Like 6 months or so.
Yeah.
That's where the druid focus I have comes from.
Okay. What was your question?
Would I be able to... trying to think of the right way to word this. Would I be able to kind of see if there's enough similarities? Like, with Zeodor's guidance, would I be able to see a similarity between the two that we could do testing on. I'm kind of dumb, so like maybe that doesn't work. But
I don't really understand what you're getting at, but
so my Ilferi's understanding of the Bleak Gate and the Dreaming is that they are both the only parallel worlds to this world. You could say one's on the left and one's on the right, and then the material plane that we're in is in the middle. But they're similar enough in that they are parallel to ours, that maybe there is similarities between them that aren't immediately obvious to someone who's only seen one and not the other.
So, are you looking to find a way to use this to block Fey energy?
As a test. Because Fey energy is not dangerous. At least what I was going to use.
I mean, Zeodor is convinced that you could use it to block Fey energy, but isn't convinced that it would have that a barrier that would block the Fey energy would block the Bleak Gate, just because it's even small differences can change the frequency.
Okay, so they're not like 1 and -1 sort of situation. Like you can just reverse one thing and now it blocks Bleak Gate versus. That's I want to know if there's enough like application to know that like if you switch this to a negative, it now blocks this thing that is the exact opposite of.
But they're not exact opposites.
Okay,
Yeah.
no,
I think
that's
you're making a
that's-
lot of assumptions about the relationship between the planes.
I actually wasn't trying to make. I was trying to figure out if there were assumptions I could make.
I mean, yes.
So there,
you could make those assumptions. I'm not saying you can't think that way, but.
But as someone who's been exposed to both, it is probably like it. I'm aware that doesn't work.
I don't know.
Or there's not, or like he doesn't have evidence that would work.
You don't have
is what you're
evidence
saying?
one way or the other.
Okay, then I wouldn't propose it. I would only be proposing anything like that if I knew, or if like I had a very strong, like evidence that they were opposite. Because she was comparing them to night and day.
Yeah.
Which are opposites of each other.
But I think we've gotten, unless there's something more Ilferi want out of this scene, I think we can fade out here on testing. Zeodor is wrapping the vial in various wires and tuning the core, the arcane core, in different ways, and fade out, fade back in on Ilferi and Zeodor walking down the path back towards the city, and Zeodor playing with a very particular length of mithril wire.
Oh, for the record, the spell I prepared was basically Charm Animal. Like, I gotta find a way to get bugs to stick around. So, waste of life, but I guess, everything dies. That's why it had to be tomorrow.
You're a bird, right? You eat the bodies.
Yeah, I probably do.
All right. But they're walking down, and Zeodor just has this very particular length of mithril wire and a very satisfied look on his face.
They're a delicacy where I come from, by the way.
The
bugs.
Oh, yeah. No, of course, yeah. Yeah. I'm sure they are. Thank you for helping me. And he tucks the wire into a separate pocket from where he has all the other ones. I think there's a lot we can do.
And it's a stepping point to finding out how to fix this thing once and for all. If we can find out how to stop it from absorbing souls, perhaps we can find a way to extract them.
I hope so. Cut to black.
Ride or die!
All right.
Okay.
And you said you had the next one, right?
Yeah, unless someone else wants to take over, because that
No,
was
go
long.
ahead.
Okay. Ilferi needs to contact Faye.
I thought you just did that.
No, I did the opposite of that.
Did you?
So Fairy's going to contact the Fae.
Okay.
What do you mean?
So Fairy sends a message to Gale again.
No, I'm confused. Like,
Shit, Gail, I forgot to ask.
Gale's not Faye. She's just an elf, right?
No, she's associated with the Unseen Court.
Oh. No, I didn't realize she was associated with them. I thought she was just an elf that, like, I guess maybe associated, but like not a
She's an
point
Eladrin.
of contact.
Yeah.
Oh, she's an Eladrin, not an elf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why
Oh.
That's why Zeodor didn't trust her. Because
Oh,
Zeodor
okay.
immediately just trusts Eladrin.
Okay, well, you know, pointy ears. Like, how am I supposed to know?
Her eyes were glowing when she was flying.
Wow.
Wind magic.
Glowy eyes.
But the eye glowing thing is an Eladrin thing specifically. Only the
Yeah, I
Eladrin, their eye
forgot.
glows. Yeah.
Shit.
That's why in the intro, when that one character's eyes started glowing, Zeodor started insulting her.
Hey, you
The one that
That
turned
kind
invisible.
of invalidates what I was planning on doing, which was informing the Fae of the Bleak Gate stuff that was going on. But, like, she would have already done that, right?
Probably.
I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, that's probably why you got that reputation increased with the Unseen Court last adventure.
Right. I wish that me talking about it with you offline would have sparked you telling me that she was involved. I had no idea.
I thought that you knew she was from our talks on offline, but
Do you want to think about your scene for a bit while someone else does one?
Yeah, I mean, like, it was literally going to be tell the Unseen Court about the Bleakgate stuff.
actually,
Because I, like...
hold on, now I'm confused. Maybe there's something I'm missing.
Because Eladrin aren't necessarily, like, linked with the Unseen Court. They just have, like, Fey heritage, right?
True.
That's correct. That's correct. I
So
think
perhaps
that's fair to. There's something that I just read that's making me second guess some things. So maybe we can go ahead and just see where this scene goes.
Okay, so perhaps I just don't think of her as a contact with the Fae.
Fair.
Like, she's Eladrin, she has some heritage there, but I need, like, I won't say leaders. I'm not important enough to talk to leaders of the Fae court, but I need leaders to understand what's going on because it might be a threat to them.
Okay.
So, I set up a ritual to contact... I kind of have to do a bit of research, because the last time I went to the Dreaming, it was kind of an accident. I just kind of slipped in there when I was really young. They saw some promise in me, and gave me the druid focus that I have, and, you know, kind of gave me a few abilities that I use. I know where they came from, but I haven't really checked in with them, so I figured this would be a good time to do that. I kind of ranted a bit. But anyways, I have to look up a ritual to contact the Fae, and then I'm going to perform that ritual. So it probably takes me a couple weeks before I actually do it, which is why it's happening after us talking with
Sure.
Gale.
And that can come under a Unseen Court favor.
Okay, yeah. The fairy
requesting
just
an
pulling the
honest-
favors everywhere during this downtime.
That's fine.
Yeah, let me look at the favors really quick. Because if there's a favor I can do in like a month time, like maybe I do that. Because it's very important.
It just kind of scales up with how powerful the fae that you're contacting is.
Oh, okay, I see. So I'd probably do like a level 3 fav. I think it's level 3. No, prestige plus 3. No, I'd probably take a level 5 favor, because we're level 2 with them, right?
Yeah.
So I'd probably take a level 5 favor, and it takes a month, right?
Okay.
So I guess it happens around the same time that
I don't.
Hmm?
The level 5 favor that they give an example of is a Fey Lord, though not one of the Unseen Court. To meet and
provide information. But I was thinking it could work in the reverse, where I can contact a Fey Lord to provide them information to give to the Unseen Court.
Why does it have to be a Fey Lord?
I want it to be taken seriously.
Oh, okay.
Unless that's not necessary. Sorry, I had this worked out in my head, and then you
I don't
mentioned
know
the
exactly
hail.
what
hail.
you like. If you're just trying to get somebody to meet with you, then getting, a pixie to deliver a message for you that you want to meet with somebody would be a level 1 favor, and that could be done easily by you.
Yeah, okay, that works. I didn't think I was actually going to be able to meet with someone, so I wanted to give my message to the highest level I could. But if I can use a favor to actually meet with someone, then yes.
Okay. So, you use some of your connections with the Feywild, or with the Dreaming, to meet and ask a pixie-like creature to deliver a message for you. Is that what we're going with?
Deliver a message so that I can have a meeting afterwards?
Right.
Okay, yes. I wanted to clarify that last part that you didn't say. Yes,
Okay.
That is what I want to do.
Okay. Within a few days, the same pixie returns with instructions of where and when to be in order to meet with somebody of a higher rank.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna ask the rest of the party. No one here actually has any interest in the Fae as a character, do they?
No, but do your thing, dude.
No, I would, if someone had shown interest in the Fae, I would bring them with me.
Not a single shit was given by Mina.
Yeah.
Zeodor is actively disinterested.
Alright, cool.
Until it becomes my problem, I don't really care.
That is what I thought, but, maybe something I didn't know about a character. Cool, so I'll go on my own. I'm gonna bring Shrubbles with me. Shrubbles deserves to see this.
Okay.
Bring your shrub child to work day.
So you arrive at the place a little bit before the time, presumably.
Actually, no, I probably arrive, because Fae are very specific, unless they don't want to be, exactly on time. I might be 10 feet away or 30 feet away, but like I will be at the specified location at the exact time that they said.
Oh, okay. Sure. Um. And at the precise time, a actually, could we do? Yeah, sure. An Eldrin man. I think he's Eldrin. At the very least, an elfin man.
Okay.
That you recognize.
Not that Elfari could tell the difference.
Well, if he doesn't cast a spell.
Ilfari's trying his hardest, but like he lived 3 years of his life on a boat with humans.
And that was like 3 of 4 years, right?
3 of 5, but yeah.
A circle of mushrooms that you hadn't noticed before glows slightly green, and out of the ring steps oh, hi, elf. An elven man who you recognize, who wields a flaming sword and a lion shield.
Oh no!
Oh my god!
We had somewhat amicable partings with him last time.
Tell him Jack says he's a bitch.
Oh my god!
I recommend not doing that.
I
also
recommend not doing that to myself. I have to like actively remind myself, don't do that. Hold on a second. What was that guy's name?
Azruby. Azruby.
Asruby!
Asruby Viral.
Asruby. Okay.
Asruby!
Yeah, there he is.
Suppository Viral.
I recommend not calling him that either.
Yeah. Fuck! Alright, so maybe it takes a minute for Elfari to stop being terrified.
It's fine. I guess the sword probably isn't lit in his sheath, but you still recognize it. And the
Actually,
shield is on his back, but...
Did
It's still
we
chomping away.
find out... Because we captured him, right?
Yes, and then he was turned over to your higher-ups who let him return to the
Okay,
unseen court.
that's what I wanted to know, was how did he escape? He was released willingly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, little birdling,
Oh, fuck.
I got your message. What is it
Are
that
you
desire?
aware of the Bleak Gate?
That it exists? Indeed.
Okay. Are you aware? No. I'm gonna stop asking questions.
Okay.
There are people in our realm that have been dabbling in the affairs of the Bleak Gate. And construction has been happening in the Bleak Gate of massive weapons, of mechanical construction that are a threat to ourselves, being the material plane and possibly the dreaming.
How come by you this information?
we have dealt with a threat that I'll kind of point towards where I can't remember his name right now. The mayor of Cauldron Hill. Actually, I'll just point towards Cauldron Hill. We dealt with a threat that ended with that house being leveled and witch oil from the Bleak Gate erupting from the mountainside.
I see.
We were given information by a... Is this guy an Eladrin as well?
He appears to be an elf.
Okay. I can't tell from the picture because I can't see the ears, so he looks human. We were given information by an Eladrin that goes by codename of Gale.
Gale is her code name. Her real name is Hannah.
Oh, okay, yeah. That goes by Gale. Of the actual construction. I didn't see that firsthand, but
I see. He seems to recognize the name. She has been requesting an audience for some time, but there are political implications with granting such an audience that don't come from meeting one such as you.
very well. I suppose that's good for both our sakes. As I've been using the powers granted by the courts, I wanted to make sure that they were aware of a potential threat. I know that I haven't done the best job in keeping contact, especially with my years at sea, but I want this to be an olive branch of sorts, to let you know that I'm still a willing servant of the Fey Courts, and have their interests at heart.
Word of your deeds has reached us, and we do approve of your actions for the most part. Our meetings need not be frequent, but we do appreciate you letting us know of potential threats to nature.
And I'm doing my very best to ensure those threats are removed as quickly as possible, within my abilities anyways.
He just kind of nods solemnly.
Is there a chance I can ask you what you were doing at that island when we met you the first time? I would be lying if I said I wasn't terrified for at least a minute after seeing you appear, of all people. You did kill me in less effort, like in less than 6 seconds of me seeing you.
He just kind of stares. You're, of course, allowed to ask, but I don't think you're ready for the answers.
I am somewhat inexperienced, so I suppose I will have to accept that answer graciously.
If there's nothing else, I must be on my way.
No, just wanted to make you aware of the potential threat, and to inform you that I'm doing everything in my power, as limited as it may be, to prevent any escalations.
He nods again, appreciated. I will take this into consideration. And then he starts to just walk off into the forest.
I'm not gonna stop him. Hopefully Shrubbles has gained some valuable knowledge on how to deal with Fae from this, but...
Shrubbles has become an Azraby fanboy. Starts like waving around one branch like a sword and starts making chomping motions with the other side.
Chomping noises?
The shield, it bites people.
Yeah, I suppose that's all I have. Hopefully they'll get back to me regarding, like, maybe not a thank you, but, like, letting me know that the higher-ups got the information as well. But, god damn, that guy was terrifying.
Isn't it always nice to see a friendly face?
Oh, man, yeah. If only he was friendly the last time we saw him. Actually, I want to get a quick clarification, or more of a reminder. Because the lady that we were fighting also had dealings with the Fae, correct? Because she summoned that, like, Fae whale thing.
Right. The
Okay, well, what?
From way back in the beginning.
the
Way back in the beginning, she
king's
jumped up.
sister, the Duchess.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
it.
right, yeah.
It was hinted at that she had some Fae connections. Believe you guys got this information at the time. The reason that Azraby had arrived on the island and was trying to either kill or take prisoner the Duchess.
Mm.
That
Right.
was why he was there.
Yeah, no, I remembered that. That's actually why my question is coming up. Did they mention why they were in opposition even though they were both working with the Fae?
What do you think?
Ilferi probably thinks that there was an abuse of power going on the side of the Duchess.
Seems reasonable to assume.
I guess he only thinks that because of how this conversation went. He wasn't sure until after this, where Azraby was not hostile and was aware of what I had been doing. There was a small part of him that wanted to ask where his shortcomings were, and knew that was a bad idea. Like that's the mortal in Ilferi, is like wanting to know the information, but having dealt with the Fae before, like knowing that that's not where that you don't do that.
Yeah.
I suppose that's all. Like, I wanted to inform them. I had hoped that they would be receptive to the information, which he seems to have been. Hopefully I get some, like, I can't think of the word right now. Some sort of communication that the information got to the right place.
All right.
But other than that, I'm done.
Cool. Does anyone else have any scenes they wanted to do?
Mina would have another dinner party.
Of course.
It's just gonna happen.
What would be the main draw, or like the main dish?
With all of this extra time, she's doing 3 things. She is writing like schematics and notes constantly to upgrade her guns.
Mm-hmm.
Theodore approves.
Yep, she's reading over Navard Secham's visions that he had before he died.
Mm-hmm.
And she is reading cookbooks from all different countries, trying to find some good shit to have at her next dinner party. So she's gonna try something like super fancy,
Uh-huh.
or at least sound super fancy, something along the lines of cook oven. So she's gonna find a rooster, she's gonna kill it, she's gonna
Cover it in wine.
cover it in wine, and it's gonna be delicious.
Fancy enough that I've never heard of it.
Kakavon?
I think
Literally means cock in wine, so we're gonna go with it.
All right.
that seems unsanitary.
You boil it.
James, it's different than the way you do it.
Wow.
Gotcha. So Shrubbles is probably going to ask the like police sketch artists that he's been learning under, like, what is an
see if the
appropriate
Shrubbles
thing to
can
bring to
talk.
this dinner party? They did not seem to appreciate what I brought last time.
Did you try throwing more jizz at them?
Ferns don't have seeds.
They have spores.
Well, there is something to be said of bringing something from your culture. A lot of people also expect something familiar.
Mina did thank Troubles. I would like to throw that out there.
Okay, yeah,
And it was
But-
her dinner party.
yeah. He just wants to be liked by everyone, though.
Sure,
So
okay, I understand.
seeds are not as well accepted as I thought. I don't have much of a culture. Being a living plant is somewhat foreign.
Oh, is this Shrubbles?
This
Yep.
is Troubles. Troubles was asking.
Sorry, I didn't know that
Troubles
we
was
were role-playing
Sorry, no.
Shrubbles here.
I specifically said Troubles was asking the sketch artists what to bring to
Oh my
a
God.
dinner party.
Oh my
This is
God.
where we are.
Yep.
Shrubbles can talk.
This is
I
what
always forget it,
2020
too.
has
Yeah.
come
The druid's
That's why I
pet
gave a different
talking
voice.
plant is asking the police sketch artist what to bring
He is
to a
my
dinner
son.
party.
This is the spin-off. We need this.
to. Troubles and sketch artists solving crimes.
It's gonna be the Frasier.
I mentioned in the in-character chat, but Troubles is
Yeah.
learning to become a sketch artist.
Yeah.
Doing paperwork is not the most useful. Like he wants to develop skills. He wants to learn because he has the capability to learn.
Does he?
Yes, he has a 10 intelligence. Like he
Does
was
that-
smarter than me until I went to school.
Does that actually mean he has the capacity to learn more?
Yes, definitely. He even has a wisdom of 10. He has a
Alright.
charisma of 6, which is why he's not so sure about himself.
You can't go wrong with some bread and wine.
Ah, yes. Fermented berries and wheat.
She nods hesitantly.
Does Shrubbles bring rotten berries and just a pile of wheat?
Well, let's see.
That's the correct answer, James. I'm proud of you on that one, buddy.
Let's see. What kind of check would that be? That would be
Wisdom.
a...
Wisdom.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's an insight check. Which is wisdom. Because he doesn't have skills. He got a 17.
He has
He
seen
got-
people consuming the baked wheats and drinking the rotten berries.
Mhm.
So he generally knows
Eh.
like where these things come from.
And he knows that the rotten berries only count if they come from bottles.
Yeah.
All right, so I think he goes to the Thinking Man
All right.
for the berry or for the wine, and I think he goes to our favorite pastry shop that we were told about by that one criminal, for the bread.
So he's just going in there alone.
Yeah, he
I would
he
like
earns.
to purchase bread.
I give him an allowance.
He can talk. He's got
It's the
money.
fairy's son.
Yeah, I give him like 10 gold a week.
Why does this item exist? Why did I allow it?
That's on
Because
you,
this-
Chris.
Look, because this is the best thing to happen in this
Chris.
campaign.
I would have cast the spell myself. Now, like I think it's a 3rd level spell. I would have done it.
Oh my god. Alright. Shrubbles wanders into the Thinking Man's Tavern. He sees people making high-pitched squealing noises. People that
He has
just...
been to the Thinking Man before. He was.
Was he there with you guys when you went before?
Yeah, Mina tried to give him some booze.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I dumped it in his pot.
He doesn't have a pot, but yeah.
There's another group of people that just seem to be trying to talk louder than the other person that they're talking to. But he doesn't really understand what they're talking about. And he sees the bar where people typically go to procure
Rotten berry drink.
rotten berry drink.
I would like one rotten berry drink, please.
The
A bottle.
person behind the counter turns to one group of the people and says, "What kind of prank is this? You druids fucking with me again?"
No. I am going to a dinner party and would like one rotten berry bottle drink. And he'll like get up on a stool and like, stand up as tall as he can.
Does he proffer cash?
Not until he gets the goods.
So
He
he's not
knows.
completed
What?
He he knows how transactions work.
You go into a dinner party with
I was invited by my my caretaker's friend, and would like to provide sustenance that would be enjoyed. Thank you for letting me have this guy, this plant, by the way.
let is a strong word.
Thank you for not thinking through the consequences of your actions.
Oh, shit.
The bartender says, did your caretaker give you any money?
Oh yes, of course. I do work and he pays me for it. Hold on. One thing Shrubbles would know is like genus and species of plants. Right? Like that doesn't seem unreasonable, right?
Sure. I mean, he'd definitely be better at recognizing different plants than a person would, I think.
I'm trying to think, hold on. Let me, so James isn't good at this, but Shrubbles would like to, request a wine
Oh,
of a
a
specific berry.
Oh, sure. By its scientific name.
Right.
Okay. I like it. So he's like, I want some Conoriferous Hergennorm berries, or
Babaricus.
yeah.
Yeah.
The bartender just like kind of like squints and thinks for a minute. Is that a red or a white?
The berry is identified by the unique red hue and sheen. Is found in clusters of 5
Sounds like
and
we're getting gin.
is rather sweet.
Right.
And
They just-
not poisonous to living animals.
Well, you might have come to the wrong place then.
Do you not sell the rotten berry juice in bottles?
Oh no, I
I've
just
seen
meant
it here
about
before.
I just meant about it being poisonous. This stuff will kill you. He like puts a bottle up on the counter.
I have tried some before and it was unpleasant. So that sounds about right.
It's an acquired taste.
Well, I'm 3 months old, so maybe it'll take more time.
Right.
I'm 3 months awakened.
Right.
Or is it 5 months awakened? 5 months awakened. I gotta keep my timetable straight.
Yeah, it's real relevant at the time scale of both of your characters.
Uh-huh.
Ilferi dies of old age before this campaign.
Well,
Actually, I
It'll
actually
be-
asked about that when I was putting up the the age scale of this character.
that'll be 10 gold, I guess.
Very well. Here's 10. And he passes over 10 gold. He's got like 50 gold on him right now. So
Sure.
I'll take it. You know what?
What does he hold the gold
yeah.
in?
He's got a little pouch.
Okay. Of course he does.
It's root colored, so it blends in with him.
The bartender takes the coin, like, bites one of them, shrugs, hand struggles the bottle, and then goes off to another customer just muttering, "Fucking druids."
Thank you for allowing my patronage. Goodbye.
An almost identical scene plays out at the bakery. We'll just fast forward through that.
Troubles is considering drawing them both portraits of, like, very accurate portraits of themselves as gifts for, like, being kind and not too judgmental.
Okay.
With a note that says thank you for being kind and not too judgmental.
Oh my goodness.
Mina also invited Nathan, just for what it's worth.
Oh, cool. Is there anyone else who was invited?
Delft, but I feel like she's invited him every time and he never comes because he tries to keep that, like, subordinate
As a
boss
wise
thing.
boss
Yeah,
should.
no, it's not a bad idea, but she always wants him to know he's welcome. But I
Yeah.
don't think he's ever come.
Fair enough.
Oh, I just remembered who Nathan was. Sorry, I was getting him mixed up with Nalas's boyfriend. I was like, you invited the moron?
No, I did not invite the moron. I invited the guy that Mina has hung out with on more than one occasion.
Yes, I remember him now. The
Yeah, he's still like
he's the
kind of-
cousin of Laya.
Yeah.
he's still like kind of technically on like house arrest.
Right. But I got him out before. I'll get him out again.
You
Yeah.
pretend to be his parole officer. There you go.
I think that's what I did last time.
Yeah.
I also think I went through proper channels, but I'm like, I'm a cop. What's he gonna do?
Yeah, and it's
So
been
don't
a couple,
you don't even have to pretend.
it's been a couple months now and like things have gotten more lax, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm taking over as parole officer for today. Thanks.
So yeah, everyone shows up. I'm gonna assume that Troubles is arriving a little bit later.
Troubles, he was getting this like before the
Couple
party.
days in
Oh,
advance.
Yeah,
So is he come with you?
he comes with Ilferi. Ilferi comes with his assorted like fruits
I
and
was hoping Troubles was going to show up like the next day and be like, I now understand food, but not punctuality. Truly, I have much to learn.
What does everyone else bring?
Is this happening early in the? Is this happening in the first month? Is the real question.
Yes, absolutely.
Then Zeodor is distracted. He brings, he brings a borscht-like stew. It's not very good. And he seems he comes, but he seems distracted the whole time.
He's like scribbling in his notebook and.
Yeah, and even when he's not scribbling in the notebook, he kind of has a faraway look, like he's working out something in his head.
Yep.
Jack brings like some fried dough from a street cart that he likes.
Ooh.
Nice.
When Zeodor sees Jack, he's going to go up to you. Jack,
Yeah.
are you busy? It seems like he has to think a moment. He's like starting to get a little scruffy at this point. He's been real off for a little bit, and you're not sure why. Are you busy 3 days from now?
No, I shouldn't be.
Could you meet me at the office in the morning and come with me? I have an errand I need to run, and I'd like some backup.
Sure.
I was just setting up for something.
All right.
We eat, we drink, we're merry. My dad hangs out. Nathan hangs out. I thank Troubles for his contribution to the menu.
It was actually.
I have been practicing. Oh, sorry.
A pretty fine wine that he managed to procure.
Awesome. Good job, Troubles, and I ruffle his sleeves.
I have been practicing drawings. Would anyone like one?
Don't encourage him.
Sure.
Okay. Now, please describe their eyes.
Oh, Troubles, I'm not playing this game.
Because he learned from a sketch artist. That's really
James is on fire tonight, man.
That's really
Approximate.
That's about all Mina does with that first little bit. Other than that, she spends the majority of her time on the administrative desk, setting up plans to do father-daughter gun upgrades.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, my dad and I try to upgrade my guns.
So, you're designing and crafting a set of revolvers here, right?
Yes.
I
I know that the constabulary already has some. They're not just like standard issue, but I get a good look at them and try to kind of figure out what I like about them and what I would change.
And your father has like some ideas of his own. He's like, oh, these things are way too bulky, and like, they don't really have any artistry to them, and but he kind of takes the ideas that they have and helps you kind of improve upon them, and giving you your own input to make them your own as well, allowing you to take the lead for the most part in the actual design and execution. And I think we determined it would probably take about half the total downtime to finish those off.
Yep.
If he's helping you along as well.
Yes. So essentially, he's doing one, I'm doing one.
Yeah.
And Other than that, at some point she's going to go shopping and get herself a breastplate.
Okay, cool.
And yeah. And then for just the rest of downtime while she's on administrative leave, not leave, but administrative duty,
yeah.
she is literally spending almost all her time reviewing Sechum's Skyseer visions.
Hmm.
Yeah, Elfari has also been crafting during the time, mostly just getting some practice, and he makes that ring of barkskin, which amulet of barkskin, which he turns into the RHC for, passing out to whoever needs it.
Yeah, so some of the R&D guys are intrigued, like, we don't get a lot of druidic based magic items. This will be very helpful, I think.
I think so as well. I need some practice with more practical application of my magic. Obviously, I can use it fighting all day long, but I want a more lasting impression as well.
Cool. So having finished work on the designs for his upgraded machete, Jack goes to a dwarven smith over in Purdy Lake named Johan Magnusson, who's actually the guy that made Jack's chainmail duster. He takes in those designs and has Johan kind of melt down and reforge his machete into the design that Jack came up with, which is mechanically a long sword instead of a short sword.
But it so mechanically it's a longsword, but what is it still look like a machete or like a big machete?
It looks like a bigger, heavier machete.
Okay, cool.
But it is, functional.
Maybe kind of like a falchion?
A little bit, kind of like a one-handed falchion.
All right, cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Historically, falchions were one-handed, so
That's
that
true.
works out.
Not in Castlevania games, God. Yeah, and then Jack is going to split the rest of his time further studying Arcana, because looks like this shit's only going to get more magical. And investigating the Ragman murder, specifically connections between the victims, where they were found, places they frequented, their occupations. You're trying to find some kind of connection.
Yeah. So you're looking into the Ragman murders, and you start to notice that a lot of the people that were targeted were other veterans of the Uracell War.
Okay. Something to go on. That is something to go on. I'm saying that's good information.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Okay, cool. So then, yeah, I guess I'll look into if they were in the same units or served in the same theaters of the war. Stuff like that.
All right, cool.
Yeah, and that's on my downtime.
All right, did anyone have anything else?
I realized I had one last question.
Mm-hmm.
Navarre Techum set up shelter in the Cloudwood where people could stay. Are people still staying there, or did they all go home after what happened?
It varies. Some people are, if you like look into it and talk to some of the people, go to some of the bars there maybe. Some people are like, oh, he said that there's going to be something more coming. like we should probably stay away, and others are like, well, it wasn't that bad. We made out of it that last time pretty well. I wouldn't even call it a disaster, really.
I wouldn't really call it pandemic, really.
Yeah, I felt a little close. but the shelter is something that remains there even after his death, yes?
Yeah.
And is available? Okay.
Yeah.
Not only is Mina reading it constantly, so is Catherine.
Yeah, I need to read over it a couple
Notes
more
written
times.
all over this shit.
I have 2 more scenes. That I don't think that they will take super long, but I do have a couple more scenes to get to.
Okay.
I've done everything I needed to.
Yeah, I just had the one.
Yeah, I guess I'll meet up with Theodore for his thing.
Yes. So, what Zeodor has told you on the way to the location is that you are meeting with Morgan Cipriano. Or that Zeodor is meeting with Morgan Cipriano. Again, I'm just taking the liberty of assuming that I set it up off camera.
Fine.
Uh,
Yeah, you guys
Okay, so-
did get the contact person to reach out to if you wanted
Yeah,
anything.
the shoemaker.
Yeah.
And so presumably we set it up through that.
I seem to have lost that page.
And can I assume that Cipriano is sitting down in his usual
Where's that
spot
page?
when we get there?
Yeah, the same breakfast place. Sipping some coffee. He sees you when you come in and throws his hand up and is like, yes. Welcome. Take a seat.
Theodore walks over and sits down.
Jack does as well.
Good morning.
Now I am hoping that this time you might take me up on having the offer of some breakfast.
I intend to.
Good.
And
he waves, and one of the waitresses just starts bringing in plates with pastries, cakes, cured meats.
Zeodor eats politely.
Jack
But-
says none for me, thanks.
You disappoint me. One of these days, I'll find something to entice you.
I disappoint a lot of people.
Much as I appreciate
Wow.
the comestibles, he uses the same tone that Cipriano say it with the first time back at him. I do
He
have
winks back.
I do have somewhat greater business to discuss.
Well, naturally.
You see, I am in need of someone in the trade of procurement.
Mm-hmm.
I need a large quantity of mithril.
Mithril.
Yes. Legal to obtain, but restricted. And I need a lot of it. 15 kilos.
I'd, as much as it, strikes my curiosity, I know better than to ask. How soon do you need it?
The sooner the better. It's not a rush job, just a project I'm anxious to have finished.
He nods and thinks for a few minutes. For you, I think we can make a deal.
I had a feeling you might see it my way.
This will count as a family favor.
Favor. Yeah.
I think we'll. I think it would be. Just check something real quick.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, so I was looking at it earlier. The way I figure this would be a level 3 favor, because I'm asking him to do something fairly significant, but I am paying him for it. Though I imagine it will take a little bit longer because it's going to take him that much time in terms of work, but it's going to take, a little bit longer just to physically get the stuff to arrive.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. It might take more than, or it will take more than a day for it to happen.
Yeah, I factored in taking like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Because, like, if it's a level 3 favor and you guys have prestige level 2, normally it would be a day to get something like that done. But
Yeah, I figured that it takes him a day to arrange it. Because the favor that I'm asking is him arranging the sale.
yeah.
And then it'll take like 2 weeks or whatever for it to actually happen.
Yeah. Trying to think of how much 15 kilos is spatially.
So Mithril
Mithril is really light.
Yeah, so it would be roughly twice the volume. It would be roughly the volume of 30 kilos, which is about 66 pounds of iron.
Okay. So it's not a ton.
Yeah, it's not a ton, but it is a lot. We're talking like a small crate, and Mithril is rare.
You're looking at full plate worth.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess I was thinking in more terms that I'd be familiar with, which would be like a anvil, essentially, in weight anyway. Because an anvil's around 50 pounds.
Yeah, so this is like a little bit more than a medium-sized anvil.
Yeah, sure. Okay. How does 1,000 gold sound for procurement, delivery, etc., etc.?
I appreciate the position that you are putting yourself in for this, but given our mutually beneficial arrangement, I was thinking somewhere more in the neighborhood of 700.
He cracks a smile. It's good to know that you have some backbone. It's a deal. He puts out his hand.
Theodore shakes his hand. And if you are interested in any more business of this variety, feel free to let me know, and maybe I can help ease the permits, perhaps.
He smiles and nods. I think this is the beginning of a good relationship between us. And he holds up a cup of coffee. Salute.
I mimic the motion. I think we can fade out on that one.
Jack just kind of observes this whole thing, doesn't say a word.
Sure.
Zeodor is very interested in getting Cipriano into, like, very difficult but legal trade, which is essentially what he's asking him to do.
Yeah.
And then I have one more scene, and I need Mina. So,
While
Mina...
I'm writing? Seriously? Fuck you.
Sorry.
What?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking to me. I was like, oh, what do I do?
No,
He,
I
he
gave her a little-
punched
I
my
gave her a little
arm
slug
while I
bug.
was writing, and it sent my pen going off in the... Ah!
Did you finish that shield for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I finished it
Okay.
last time.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's right, you did.
No,
Okay.
you're all set.
I just wanted to make sure it was happening. Cool.
Yeah,
I got
yeah,
it.
you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured you just weren't using it because it messed up your line. But yes, Mina, Zeodor has asked you to meet him at a cafe in Central. He mentioned that it was something about a business proposition.
Okay. What time of day?
Like late morning.
Okay.
So like the time that you would eat brunch or maybe an early lunch kind of thing.
Sure. 10:30, 11. Got it. Alright. She shows up.
Okay, when you get there, Zeodor waves you over.
Is there coffee waiting?
Yes, there's coffee waiting.
Thank God.
Like there's coffee. There's coffee that has clearly been placed in front of him that he has moved over to your space because he ordered it for you.
Thank you. It's only my third cup of the day.
Well, you must be tired. And Zeodor at this point looks much more focused than when he was at your party.
Yeah.
Like he's still a little out there, but he's much more present than he was. I need a favor.
Okay.
It's nothing big, and I think you'll be interested. He pulls out a notebook with some sketches. I actually need you and perhaps your father to go in with me on a special order I'm making. I found a factory in near Alchemist Row willing to do the work, but they'll only do it for a large order, and I don't need quite so many bolts. But and he's flipping
Okay.
through, and he shows you a schematic for some specialized bolts. See, I need some very, very small bolts, and I have a design that will let me have bolts less than a 1/16 of a millimeter across.
Okay.
And he's showing you the designs. It's a copper core bolt, but it's very tiny, and it uses a cobalt wire to reinforce the thread.
Okay.
I
To
figured
what
they
end?
could be. I'm working on the project. He seems to be intentionally cagey.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, I got that. So, a project. Okay, look, Zeodor. I really like you. I do. Worked with you for a while now. You've been cagey as fuck for a month. I just need to know that you're not getting into some stupid shit.
Zeodor kind of deflates a little bit. You're right. And he pulls out a second notebook.
Spoilers, he's getting
Alright.
into some fucking cagey shit.
and he flips it open.
12 notebooks later.
And in it are designs for a machine. And as he's flipping through, he's pointing out different pieces, and you realize that many of these pieces are similar to Helper, but this particular machine is certainly bigger.
Shit.
And as he gets several pages in, he gets to a full body schematic, and you see the image of this machine. It's a couple feet tall, and it looks like a four-winged dragon.
Mina snatches it out of your hand and starts looking really closely. I'm gonna be a minute. Here, look at this. And she pulls out her notebook and hands it over. Tell me if you think anything needs to be changed. And it's her,
Aw, nerd.
it's her revolvers.
Yeah. He
Me and
is
my dad
flipping
are-
through it excitedly.
My dad and I are already working on it. I think we got most of it down. He's super artsy. Like, he's really good at the like engineering too, but he's got an artistic eye. And not that you don't have an artistic eye, but I feel like I trust you just a little bit more with the engineer. Just take a look at it. I'll look at this.
These are wonderful. And he's taking moments to point out, here, this section here, you could remove all three of these bolts. Using the cobalt reinforced ones, you could do it with a single bolt. It would prevent it from rattling the barrel when you fire larger shots.
I'm
Give you a little
looking
more
to cut
flexibility.
weight in every aspect of these things. So yeah, that's not a bad idea. Okay. Yeah, I
But-
can get behind this. I can get behind this.
I thought you might. Look, I think you understand. I think you probably more than the others understand. We almost didn't make it out on Cauldron Hill.
You want to tell?
in the-
You telling me that? Yeah, I know.
I'm building a couple of things. I think that this could help us out. I'm also building myself a set of armor. Hopefully.
She bangs on her chest and you hear ting ting. Yeah. Opens up her shirt a little bit. Breastplate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want that to happen again. Hence the new guns, hence the... Yeah. That sucked.
I have a gift for you, actually. And he reaches into a bag that he had by his side, and he pulls out 3 small boxes of bullets and pushes them over to you.
Oh, sweet. Where'd these come from? Did you make these?
Commission, actually. Designed them, but, I haven't made bullets before, and I wanted ones of good quality.
Thanks. Anything
when you
special or just bullets?
When you open them up, they are bright, shiny, and silver. Zeodor has given you 30 silver bullets.
Hell yes. I'll take it.
Ew, metal. Gross. Miniature cutlass excluded, of course.
I was gonna say.
There is another thing I wanted to ask you about. While I have you here.
Shoot.
Why did you join the RHC? I mean, I think I know why the rest of us are here. I I was looking for somewhere to belong. I'm pretty sure El Ferry wanted the same thing. Both of us kind of lost what sort of family we had. And Jack, I'm not sure would admit it, but I think he wanted the same thing. I think we were all feeling a little lost and needed a place to belong. But, well, not to be too blunt, but you have a job. Seem to have a wonderful relationship with your father. Why did you join?
So, before you joined, you looked at me, what did you see? I'm not exactly from here.
I see.
It's not why I joined, exactly. But, I suck at magic. I was not born here. And I came here. My dad's never really told me, but I heard gunshots. My mother never came home. My dad fled and brought his gun-making abilities across the sea to a rival country.
Mm.
The government I was born under didn't serve us well, so my dad chose to serve another. And when I came here and realized magic was a real thing, that was my one real dream. But I'm not good at it. At all. So I went to school, figured out a little bit about how it works, but I'm not good at it. What I am good at is guns. And what I do appreciate is this place. And to a certain extent, it actually behooves me to look like this on this team. Not always, but don't hurt to have a horny girl on the team.
You have been a wonderful teammate and an even better friend.
Thanks. I like you too.
I want to call that the fade out there. I think that's a great fade out moment. Also, when you talk about sucking at magic, you can see Zeodor will remember this.
Yeah.
Pop up across the screen.
There's a reason that Mina has magical adept or whatever the hell it is. She's proficient in Arcana. She can't do shit.
But she loves the idea and likes
Yep.
to dabble in it. Yeah, I like that.
Why do you think she starts to check like wonder? Doesn't.
Because also Zeodor connects to that because he weaves magic into machines. He doesn't do magic on his own.
Right. Mina don't do magic at all, except for thaumaturgy, which is a racial thing. That don't make her special.
I mean, we do have a couple minutes, so at one point, nearly 2 months in, when Zeodor gets to the office, you hear it before you see it. And only Mina is not incredibly confused by it. As a machine flies into the office ahead of Zeodor. The machine is a little over 2 feet tall. it has a head like a dragon, though the eyes have the multi-leveled ocular sensors that Helper had, and it has 4 large wings of stretched canvas that that flaps in it. Sorry, words flew out of my brain. That flaps in countersynced motion. As it flies around around the room, it makes a strange cawing noise, and you see various machines along its belly and at the tip of its tail. As Zeodor walks into the room, he is beaming. He's cleaned up, he's focused, he's present, and he is like you haven't seen him since Helper died.
Jack just kind of takes a drag of new helper.
As the machine flies around the room, it comes around and lands on Zeodor's arm. This is Mea Kokua. Koku for short.
Go.
Coco. I like it.
Koku.
Coco.
K-O-K-U. Koku.
Coco.
Yes. I was originally going to name it after the Russian word for helper. And then I was thinking about Swahili. And then I decided if I went with Hawaiian, there was a better chance that you would all try to pronounce it.
I think that's cultural appropriation, but I'll allow it.
By what right do you allow it?
But if Fairy is saying that, not Nick.
But yeah, so Kokua shortened to Koku, because Koku is fun to say, and it sounds a little bit like cuckoo, like a cuckoo clock, and I like that.
It's pretty sweet, dude.
Does this use the energy thing, coil, oil?
Zeodor.
Does it run on souls?
Zeodor puts Koku down on the table and fiddles with a front panel. And as he pulls it down, you see a small vial of black oil that's rigged up to a few different places, and it is wrapped in tightly controlled coils of mithril. If our experiments with Gale produced anything, it's completely safe.
Did it work, by the way, Redbeard? The experience.
I never said it did. I wish I'd had a chance to clear that application beforehand, because it brings some bigger implications into the use of witch oil than we can talk about it offline. But
Zeodor could just lie and say that it doesn't right now, because inconclusive evidence.
Yeah, but Zeodor wouldn't lie about that.
Your experiments would have yielded that, yes, something on the scale that Ilferi was describing, that you could protect a soul from entering the oil, but there was no conclusive evidence on whether using it would what would happen to the souls upon using it, with or without the barrier.
Yeah, I have no idea about that. It was just about protecting it from
taking more in.
From taking souls.
Oh, okay.
Ilferi was fine with it
using,
as long as he didn't take it more.
But you are using witch oil to power this thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to try experimenting with both the inert and the charged with witch oil, but yes, I'm using witch oil to power it.
Okay. The inert is inert.
Okay.
it does not seem to react any more than, probably less than your typical engine oil. But if
Okay.
you did run any experiments using already activated witch oil, it's like several magnitudes more potent than like other ritual components that you might have also experimented with and compared with in like using it as a magical reagent.
Yeah, so it's set up to essentially drip feed um, into the machine. So it uses small amounts at a time.
But as far as we're aware, one of those vials will never run out.
Not sure. We'll find out.
I just mean like as far as the testing we did, because like the souls didn't go away, so the magic doesn't go away.
Well, we weren't testing it hooked up to a machine.
True.
Is the thing. We were just testing to see if the barrier could keep it from absorbing more souls. But yeah, so that's the in-universe explanation that I was using for the mechanical bit that we talked about offline. Of this is how Zeodor casts his spells, is that Koku casts them.
Because Zeodor now has a level of
Artificer.
Yay!
actually, what did everyone else take as their 5th level?
Wizard.
Bang bang.
Cool.
Druid 5. Get those 3rd level spells. Dispel
Yeah. I
magic.
really don't know if Mina's gonna multi-class in any way, shape, or form at any time.
I mean,
Yeah.
you'll be really good at shooting.
Yeah.
I think there might be a gun prestige class, maybe? I don't remember.
There's a it's like a technology, or it's kind of in the technologist field as far as I recall.
Yeah, the mad shootist.
Mad
I was
shootist.
looking at before.
That's it.
You make a beam gun.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
It seems kind of similar to the artificer cannon subclass, cannoneer subclass.
The
whatever it's called.
artillerist?
Yeah. In that you
Yeah,
craft,
in some
like a
ways.
specialized weapon that you use.
Yeah. The artillerist, I think, also gets bonuses with wands. But yeah, it's the same idea of using magitech to make a gun that does magic.
Somewhere in this period of time as well, the paperwork has been filed and requests made, and eventually a representative of the clergy arrives to perform the resurrection ritual on Herod Sechem.
Yay.
Um,
The fairy's definitely there for that. I mean, I've told everyone about it. I will tell everyone the day that it's happening, if
Yeah,
anyone
I'll be
else is
there.
interested.
Yeah, Zeodor's definitely there.
Anyone want to come to this weird reverse funeral?
I don't remember if there's like a medical ward of any kind in the-
Resuscitation?
Lar enough?
Huh?
Oh, I just said funeral backwards.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a morgue in the constabulary, so it's as good a place as any. to carry this out.
Yeah, that'd be where the gentle repose is being cast and all that.
Yeah. So they come in. They like seem very just kind of like don't really interact with people very much. Very somber. Like they just kind of come in, ready to do the job. They perform.
I'll provide the diamond. Is it diamond or diamond dust? I can't remember. Let's see.
Well, just get a diamond, and then if it's diamond dust, we can fix that.
Yes, I'll provide them the diamond.
Yeah, they just kind of like hold out their hand expectantly when it comes to that part of the ritual that they require it. There's some chanting, some flashing lights, and then the ritual kind of ends all at once abruptly. You hear gasping breath, and Heward starts to sit up, and the priest like holds him down, and then just like starts running their hands like up and down his body, and some of the wounds that he'd had start to mend. Presumably, it's easier to heal someone after they're alive. And then they pack up their things and start to leave.
Welcome back.
Oh, thank goodness. You didn't deserve what happened to you.
What?
We had to fix it.
What's going on? Where am I?
You've been dead for like a month.
Dead. I
Unfortunately.
remember someone came to my factory and put a bag over my head. I don't remember much after that.
You were kidnapped by evil men, and they used you as a hostage.
They're dead now, if that helps.
It may be better that you don't remember.
But you should also know that Navarre did die. Nobody killed him, it was just... he already knew it was coming.
Did he get to see the stars?
He did.
Yeah.
We have a few readings, if you are interested.
Yes, maybe
No
some
rush.
other time. I need to
Yeah.
check in on some things. Did you find anything out about Nalasa? Her...
We found her murderer, and exacted revenge. Unfortunately, we couldn't take him into custody, so we did the next best thing. Happened to be the person who killed you as well, so...
To be fair, it's hard to take a man made of goo into custody.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention that part.
Yeah, he just kind of turns his head. I think I'm better off not knowing.
Yeah.
Probably.
I need to check on my factory, my men. I hope my men are all right.
I'm sure you have many affairs you need to check on.
Make sure you take care of yourself too.
Definitely
I'd
take
be
it easy the next few days.
I'd be happy to go with you to check on your factory. It's helpful to have a badge behind sometimes.
Thank you. So yeah, you kind of help him get back to back to his home at the factory. Since um, the paperwork and everything had been submitted, things were kind of up in the air. The factory had been shut down, and the men kind of furloughed. Not really sure what was going to be happening, but so there were some rumors that he might be coming back. So it might take him some time to get things back together, but he's at least back in his home. And there's that.
Yay!
Yay. Good
You guys did
downtime, guys.
one good thing.
I think arguably some of the other things we did might also be good.
I had a dinner party.
Yeah.
I worked on
Trouble
myself
procured
improvement
wine.
and catching a serial killer.
Oh, there is one other thing. The
I don't think we have time for it though.
I don't really know how long it takes. That's kind of up to Chris. Because we have our group training montage in hunting monsters.
Yeah, we don't have 5 minutes.
Right. God, what's the deal with that?
I kind of
The
want
point
it to
of a
be
montage
more
is you do it
like
fast.
in depth. I feel like that's gonna be just an interesting thing to do.
Yeah. Get to work on it, Chris.
So the rumor that you all heard was that citizens are warned to avoid the western bayous around the battalion school on Pine Island. The Marshall University has imported exotic wild beasts from a Rosori colony of Elfavare and will be conducting exercises in beast tracking and monster slaying. Some of you had some connections with the battalion, right?
Yes, I've been there.
Okay.
Theodore went to school there, and one of my contacts is a professor there.
So, you through your contacts are able to, you're able to get access for you and your teammates in to just kind of see what's going on. They your contact tells you that it's like a specialized course for the workers in Elfavar who are trying to establish new colonies. Elfavar, for those you don't know, is kind of a desolate. It used to be a great country of power before the last big war when the Eladrin goddess was slain. And since then, the whole country has kind of fallen into abandonment, ruins. Jungle has overtaken much of the what were once cities. And there are rumors that some who wander and explore through old ruins of Elfavar actually slip into the dreaming. There's some sort of magical ley lines that have been crossed. And as such, there are some rather unique creatures to be found there in the jungles. Um, and the colonists have brought in some of these beasts to kind of help train those that would go out to colonize on what to expect. So you have like some large ape-like creatures, um, something that looks like a tiger but bigger. And you're able to watch from afar as some of the battalion students are run through drills on how to look for tracks that they use like some areas of the battalion that have some light jungle, and they explain the differences between what it would be like over there and such.
Okay, so it's more survival training, not like combat training.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, very probably, even though he's lived most of his life on the sea, actually pretty adept at that sort of thing. So, but we are allowed to participate, even though it's for a different
No, you're not
group.
participating. You're just able to watch.
Ah, okay. Man, I wanted to hunt some big monsters.
Hey, how about next downtime we don't have anything big that we have to do? We just go on like a cruise and we go to that place and we just hunt a whole bunch of big shit.
No, I have a serial killer to find.
Yeah, that'll happen this next time, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I'm sure you've almost got him.
Emily
I've seen your
Lafitte,
pinboard.
that's your contact there.
Yes.
All right.
Former professor, yeah.
She speaks up at Ilferi's comment. Well, we're always accepting new recruits to go and help with the colonization of Elfavare. It would mean extended dedication to the project. You would have to spend several months or years probably helping to establish the colony, but we could get you in training if you're interested.
Years. Well, this would conflict with our current engagement, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
this wouldn't be. So
This is stop being a constable and go become a colonist in the wild jungles of old Elfland.
that sounds really cool, but
This is chance to roll a new character.
Yeah.
Peace! I'm gonna roll up Shrubbles as a real character.
No! Shrub is not a playable race.
Trouble, you want to be a colonist? No.
What is a colonist?
All of
If I make a
Elfavare
homebrew
observes
playable
Shrubble.
race for sentient shrub,
He dies.
Awaken.
Catches on
Awaken.
fire.
Oh, man. They're vulnerable to fire. How could you do that to them?
Like this.
I mean, pretty
He's not on
easily, they're
fire.
vulnerable to fire.
No. No, Troubles is very invested in what he's been learning so far. It's like his first, like, self-actualized
Editor.
skill.
Yeah, of course it is. What else has there been?
Living.
Ilferi has a strong dedication to the RHC. We appreciate your offer, but I know how much you appreciate dedication.
Oh, I understand entirely. I didn't expect you to take me up on the offer.
But if you have like a couple week excursion where you need a big monster killed, let us know.
Yeah.
We will file the requisite paperwork and get to work for you to kill that monster.
Sure. I'll keep it in mind.
We're very skilled. Here's my card. I don't have a card.
Here's a feather.
Oh yeah. You guys still left a feather with Julian, or did you want to take that one back?
He can keep it.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be useful to let him contact us because he is still working for the
Denor.
consular who we believe is compromised.
Yeah.
It's like we don't have the clout to say, hey, this guy might be working for bad people because
Yeah, that would require
the consular.
like a trial to be had.
And we don't have the proper evidence yet.
Yet.
All right. I think that about wraps it up for tonight.
Cool.
Unless anyone had anything else, we'll pick up with Adventure 3.
What's it called?
Digging
Dead Sky
for
Seer.
Lies.
That's right.
Dun, dun, dun.
The Sky Seer is now dead.
Adventure 4, the rotting Sky Seer. Adventure 5, the skeletal Sky Seer.
Adventure 6,
Adventure
the
6.
Sky Seer's return?
Adventure 7, no, not really.
Weekend with Skyseer.
Adventure 8, making Sky Seer fertilizer.
All right.
Quick question: did I end up getting a response and/or a gift that we talked about later on
shit.
from the
I
thing?
totally forgot about that.
That's why I kept saying I'll do whatever I can within my power, my meager powers.
No, I totally slipped my mind. A couple of days after your meeting with Azerby, you find when you return to your home one evening a golden lily on your doorstep. And upon picking it up, you just kind of innately can feel some sort of connection to the dreaming, and you feel like you could use this to summon aid.
Cool.
See, I'm on top of things. I know
Yeah.
what's going on.
Cool.
Cool.
I can now summon Fey spirits.
All right, I
All
think
right.
that was everything.
Mm?
I'm happy with that.
Tune in next week for more lies. I mean,
I'll bring my
True.
shovel.
I wasn't happy with that.
What is fiction but lies we tell ourselves?
Sure.
They can also be glimpses into the universal truth of humanity.
I mean, sure, I was just saying a meaningless nonsense phrase.
So was I, but you know. just the opposite nonsense.
All right, we'll be back next week. Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.